I am live. What's going on, y'all? Today I felt like skipping the ring light and doing all that. I just wanted to sit on the floor with my plant. Her name is Love, and just talk to y'all. So today I titled this Doing versus Being, and then whatever the title is, because I'd be forgetting. But I really wanted to talk about doing versus being. I help single Black women over 30 go from helpless to hopeful in love. And it's something that's really important to me. I love us. We deserve all of the love. Okay. We deserve to be seen and to be happy and all of these things. So I actually was going to talk about something different today, but it kept nagging my spirit to talk about the difference between doing and being. Now, I feel very equipped to talk about being a single Black woman over 30 because I am an unmarried woman. I do want to be married. I do desire to have kids. And my journey in this space has not gone the way I thought it was going to go. And that used to cause me a lot of angst and strife. So that didn't help me get to it faster because I'm still unmarried and I still don't have children. But my view on it, the ease on my soul, the peace I feel, even though I don't have it yet, and all of this stuff, instead of freaking out or feeling rigid or feeling sad, I've been able to cultivate the mindset and the heart posture to be cool with where I'm at. Doesn't mean I still don't have the desires. It doesn't mean, I don't want a man and I'm over it. I've gone past all that. So I want to share the mindsets and the modalities that I've had to implore in my own life with you, because I feel like there's a heart posture of joy and being happy with where you are that ushers in everything that you desire. So I'm going to share everything I know with you about that because I feel like it's important and it's easy to speak to. What's going on, Miss Demita Joe? Thank you for tuning in. That makes me so happy that you're here. So please, if you have not liked this video, please do it. Subscribe to my page. Share this with a friend because we be talking about men in our dating lives. So we got to get this together. Follow Loving Life Deep on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm intuitively walking through all of this. So thanks for rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. So let's jump into this. Thank you, Tawny, for tuning in. I love you. That's right, Demita Joe. We about to get into it. So let's do it. So just a quick little story. Oh, the sun. That's what you gonna do? Okay. Doing versus being is so important. I want to tell you guys a story. I'm a big sister. I'm the oldest. There's three of us. I have two younger sisters. And low key growing up, I was mama. Like I wanted to cook for my sisters, protect my sisters, love on them. I was just available to be the big sister role. And, in that comes a lot of responsibility. And there's things that you have to be good at. So I kind of was raised with this sense of pride, almost of being like a mother. I know that kind of sounds weird, but I mommied my sisters, and sometimes in that, what happens is you have responsibilities that you might not necessarily need to have at your age, or you find yourself feeling responsible for people that it's your responsibility to an extent, but these weren't my kids. These were my sisters, but I still just felt like, being something for them. And I want to kind of talk about how from ages 3 to 7, this is where we get socialized. This is where we understand we have some impulse control, we learn to control ourselves in a way that bring us love. You know what I mean? This is where we learn mom and dad praise me when I do this. Mom and dad don't like it when I do this. People don't find it socially acceptable when I do that. So ages 3 to 7 is where we start to get informed, like don't hit, share. You can't be doing and saying whatever you want now. We're starting to learn that stuff, right? So doing versus being. If when I stop crying, it makes my parents happy, that's informing me, okay, I'm more lovable when I'm not crying. If I'm cooking for my sisters, I'm showing up, I'm getting good grades, okay, you like me now. So you like me when I'm helpful. You like me when I'm doing well. You like me when I show up this way. When we start to get that information, we start to create a personality. This is persona. So now, we start to build this personality, and it's not always 100% authentic to who we are, because we're not being informed from self and impulse and intuition. We're being informed from, okay, they like that, they don't like that, let me stop that, and all of these things. So Davita Joe says, you probably always figure out solutions because, girl, the weight of needing to be solution oriented and feeling like I'm the only one that can do that, I absolutely grew up with that. And I'm not trying to say that those traits aren't valuable, but it was probably a little bit too much for a kid, because I do see how some of those personas and traits and characteristics from my personality, they weren't all authentically me. And so when you're living in a space where you're creating a personality so you can be accepted, the weight of that gets heavy at some point. And then you got to maneuver, which we're going to talk about. Yes, Damita Joe, ages 3 to 7, you're like a sponge. So it's really, yeah. So for me, part of the persona that I created, for example, was to be helpful. When I'm helpful, my mom's happy because she was tired. If I make the breakfast, cool. If I can watch my sisters play or make sure they watch TV and got their breakfast, make them a little egg, some toast and some grapes or some cereal. And I could do that because there was a point where my mom worked a night job. So she felt safe to be able to go to sleep while I just grab my sisters, plop them in front of the TV, make sure they got some food, put some clothes on. So, you know what I mean? The role. So I learned like, wow, my parents love it when I'm helpful. So okay, being helpful is good. I want to be loved. Like, love me. Here, I did this. I'm helpful, right? Even when it came to school, like I was like the tall, skinny black girl. Like I had braids and glasses. I was different. Like, there's all these things, but I was funny. Like this is how I'm not going to say I was a class clown, but low key, I like to kick it. I like to talk. I like to laugh. And it was more of like another piece of a persona that was parts of it were authentically me, but that's how I made friends. That's how I was informed. Like, oh, okay, kids like that. Kids don't like the kid that picks their nose when they feel like they want to pick it. That's the cootie kid. But the funny kid is cool. Got the friends. Do you get what I'm saying? So you start to learn what people like and don't like and start to form your personality around that. And don't get me wrong, persona is fine when you're at work. Persona is fine when you are meeting people that you don't know and you don't want to express all of those vulnerabilities. But what I want to warn us of, and I know everybody in here can relate, when we start equating love to what we do, it's hard to be vulnerable with people because then you almost don't feel safe to be vulnerable because you start to feel more safe, or you start to believe that you're being loved for what you do. So you're showing up in this space and vulnerability is hard for you because you equate love with what you do. But your impulse on being and who you really are hasn't been exercised because you've been trained to be good, be quiet, be available, be this, be feminine, don't talk back, don't da-da-da-da-da. This is for my Black women. We're single Black women over 30. This is how we go from being helpless to hopeful in love. This is my mission. Follow on Loving Life Deep. But y'all, your mama at some point was like, stop crying or I'm gonna give you something to cry for, right? Just an example. So now that's informing me when I cry, I'm bad. When I'm sad, that's bad. My mom don't want to look at me crying. Don't nobody want to hear my tears or why I might really be upset. It's just stop. That's unacceptable. That's bad. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. I'm a big ass crier. I cry a lot. And being cool with beingness, and I'm gonna cry when I want to, and knowing that I have permission and that's okay. For me, I realize that's just me moving pent up energy through my body. I'm not trying to be a burden on nobody. I don't want nobody to tell me to stop crying. I don't want nobody to call me names because I need that. I need to cry. So there are things like, and whatever it is for you, I just wanted to give you an example, but do you see how our youth informs us and then we don't want to cry or, we'll read stuff like, bad bitches, they don't cry, and or whatever it's gonna be, because that was the information that we got. Like, ew, you're crying. Stop crying before I give you some. Like, you threatening me because I got feelings. Damn, like that's Let me see. Um, Oh, here we go. Tony says, crying is such a great coping skill. There are way worse decisions you can make to deal with problems. Correct. So if I got pent up energy in my body and I'm learning that doing versus being gets me love. So if I don't do what people don't love, which is crying, stop crying before I give you something to cry for, then that pent up energy that I feel that I can't move through because crying is unacceptable, I might fight you. I might fight. I might fight because I don't know what to do with this now. I might, and whatever it's going to be. So you're right, Tawny. Like, it's a coping skill. That is okay. You know what I mean? Mr. Mita Joe, that was one thing I never shamed my son for. Oh, that's so good, especially in boys. Not even especially, like it's more, but it's the same thing. Boys don't cry. Did it? Yes, they do. It's natural and a good release. The gag is, it's also strength. Facts. There is nothing weak about being vulnerable and honest. And this is the very thing that we've got to show up in relationship. How else do we get to intimacy if we can't? We got all of these rigid things that we can't, and let me not end it because he's not gonna love me. When you function out of the doingness versus the being, look at the men you attract. If you believe that you can't cry, or if you believe if you're not being helpful, or if you're not paying for something, or if you're not whatever it is, if you believe that that's the way you receive love and that's the only way, then you're going to start attracting men that are using you for that. Or they don't cry themselves, or they don't, the way you attract comes from your belief. So I just wanted to do this live to give you, I hope in all ways you feel permission to be yourself. It's a beingness. Accept your impulses. You can trust yourself now. You're not a preschooler that needs to be taught don't hit. You know not to hit people, but you also know that if you're an adult and you feel like hitting somebody, you have a modality that you can go to now, and maybe you need to take a time out and go breathe deeply. But it doesn't make you wrong or bad or crazy because you got regular human emotions. We got to embrace those because it's the truth of who we are. And I think the more that we exercise allowing our impulses to inform the way we show up, that's when we can move from doing to being. Doing feels very egoic to me. Being feels like love, which is our nature. And if you want someone to love you for the totality of who you are, put the mask down, put the persona down, put the personality down, because it's an act. And one day that act gets heavy. For example, I know something that informed me is like, being contentious or talking back. Don't talk back. I talk back. If I feel some way about something, or I'm not in agreement with something or whatever, now I know how to talk back. I know how to understand what I'm willing to do and what I'm willing to not do. And if you don't like me for that, I'm going to let you have that. We're afraid of people not liking us. You need to be liked. Especially, this is for my women. I don't know all of the intricacies that men go through. We're all human, so we have it. But how many of you guys have suffered with wanting to be liked so bad? That's another one of these informing things that come and we start doing. People like me when I'm funny. People like me when I'm nice. People don't like it when I don't like what they have to say. And if I say something, they get mad. If I don't like what they're doing, they get mad at me. I don't want people to be mad at me. I want to be liked. Now, you're just going to have to be mad because I'm going to show up intuitively and honestly from my beingness. And if something don't sound right, I get to trust that now. So now I'm more aligned, because when you do that, is what I'm saying making sense? Your flow, your alignment, your intuition is all you got. So you can't stifle that like stones in a hose by trying to perform out of doing to receive love instead of being to receive love. If people don't like you for who you really are, at this point, don't we know it's better to let them go? It's cool. But how long was that not okay? You want to make sure you're doing all this for the man, and so they like you. If you don't like that, I don't like something that you did, and that's a problem for you, you can go. I'm not about to sit up here and negate my heart, my impulse, my intuition to appease you, because I'm going to be appeasing and performing my whole life. And that is not going to bring the authentic love for Jaimi's heart, what Jaimi needs, because I'm not being Jaimi. I'm being what I think I need to be received. And that's just going to bring you all of these fake relationships that most of us have probably been going through. Let me go to the comments. Tawny, which is my sister, y'all. So she knows firsthand, like in depth and intricacy, who I really am. You know, Tawny, I have always admired you for expressing your vulnerability so freely. That has been something difficult for me at times because I don't want people to see me cry. It's pride that really hindered me. And I get it. I understand. Crying cleanses your soul. It does. And it's something I gotta cry, y'all. Mr. Mita Joe, facts. It took me years to be okay with just being me and not caring about that. That's right, because we're taught so many different things, and that's so irrelevant. It's ego versus love. So if you want love, be love. And you are love. It is your nature. So you would think that'd be easier, right? But we get trained so differently and have to work our way out of, I don't want to say being fake, because there are so many aspects of me. I really am funny. I really am good at making friends. I really am helpful, but I'm not going to trade that for your love, for your admiration. I'm going to tell a joke when I want to tell a joke. If I'm not in the mood, I don't need to perform for you like, ooh, what's wrong with her? Nothing's wrong with me. I'm just quiet right now. You know what I mean? We don't have to use these things to like, do they like me? Do they like me? Do they love me? Is this good? Am I doing good? You know, another example I thought of is like, you know, I hated school, y'all. I went to school for recess. Like, I am one kicking it, chopping it up, trying to meet people, community-based woman. And y'all asking me to sit still and be quiet for too long. And I'm not even trying to hear what you're talking about. But I was wrong for that. You know what I mean? And when you're younger, you do what do what you're told. You're supposed to go to school. You need to do that. So I'm sitting up here trying to sit on my hands, because this makes me wonder about ADD. Is it really ADD, or do we need to stop asking an elephant to climb a tree? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a brilliant woman. I just don't want to sit there and listen to you tell me. So it's like, by the time I got to high school, I was ditching school. I was ditching class. I didn't want to be, it was just hard for me to just sit and like, oh, it's boring. Is lunchtime yet? Like, I'm trying to see my friends, you know? But if I think about it, at the end of the day, that really is who I am. So, you know, I'm not blaming my parents. I have stellar parents. They're amazing. But what I'm saying is, and what I picked up from that is like, wow, how beneficial could my life have been? How much more accepted could I have felt if those in authority over me, because I'm being informed from authority, was like, why don't you like school? What do you think you'd rather be doing? So why are you doing this? How do you feel? Are y'all asking your kids how you really feel? How they really feel about things? I'm hoping that when I get the opportunity to be a parent, that I don't allow the fear of them not being in the societal box to have me pressure them. I want them to inform me about who they are before I tell them who they need to be. I'm hoping to have that, because God designed us all. We are all so special and unique. I don't want to stifle that, because I'm 40 and I'm just kind of now feeling like I've cleared so much of that stuff out that I can get going again and be fully authentic, you know? Mr. Mita Joe, I'm so shocked you ditched school, girl. I was like, okay, fourth period. I got 3 more times to not show up before they call my parents. What y'all want to do? I had friends. We would go to Del Taco because that was the spot. We would walk to a friend's house who lived local. I mean, I was just like, when is this day going to be over? I do not want to say. And you know what? I'm the same way corporate. at a full-time job. Why y'all need 8 hours? I done finished my work already today. Now I'm walking around. I got to go pee again. I'm trying to take a break. Like, it's just, I can't. Mr. Mita Joe says, my son is a theater major now because I was like, do what motivates you and what's going to motivate you for 4 years. Correct. But you giving them that permission says, okay, I can make a choice. Okay, this is how I feel about what motivates me. What do you think, mom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you can, they can now lean into that knowing that they are loved for who they are. Not for, you know, you need to be a theater major because this is how your dad made money. And if you don't dance and sing, it's not good. So now it's just like, okay, I better do this or my mom's not going to love me. Let me do it. Meanwhile, on the inside, you're like, but I just want to be in tech, or I just want to, you know, or whatever it is. Mr. Mita Joe says, I used to go to the mall and I had a friend that we used to cook breakfast at her house during our first periods. Yup. Girl, we would have been together because I would have been like, what? Like, y'all, let's do it. Oh, your parents ain't home either because they're at work. Let's go. I know. We're such rebels. And I've accepted that now because I'm telling you, you know, I am the daughter of a military man. My dad had 3 girls. And so I have to look at his perspective. He didn't want us to grow up hooligans. He wanted us to grow up with structure. So that way, when we went out into the world, we could go out into the world on some kind of autopilot that wasn't going to have us in trouble. That wasn't going to have us like, we're girls, we're women in this, you know, you need to have some kind of structure about you. But at some time, it was just like, every time I feel like I'm being me, y'all mad. So I can't be me. I have to be, get this done, go to work, save money, show up. You know, I got my real estate license. I did this. It's like the kudos, the pat on the back, the good job, Jaimi. Like, you know, I don't care. I can't. I'm not going to get it right all the time because that's what inside of the perfectionist in me. It needs to be good. It needs to be right. It needs to be clean. Look at all of that mental energy that I could have been using to be more of myself and being okay with that and feeling safe in that because I know I'm going to be loved anyway. I don't have to do that for love. I could just be me and you love me. That's empowering. Tawny says, I have tried to be so many different people. Isn't that exhausting? Just reading that, I just got tired. Like, I can't. I am so done with that. It's so exhausting. Wow, that's powerful because you don't got to be that. God designed you the way he did, and you're allowed to lean into the beauty. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it will always be beautiful. So are we going to look at God and be like, you done messed up. I was supposed to be taller. I was supposed to have bigger boobs. I was supposed to, my hair, because we're allowing society to inform and we're shaping a persona and personality to appease others to receive love instead of being ourselves. Then we take that into our dating life and we attract and deal with people who like, I don't want to say robot, but you feel what I'm saying, like the persona. So you find yourself, you know, it's just, I can't. So I really just wanted to share this because these are things that I believe we have got to think about. Like, or when I think about dating, here's one, like not to be argumentative. If you don't like something, you should be able to bring that up to your partner. And the only reason stuff be coming out wrong and contentious is because if we feel like not being an argumentative woman and to just keep our peace and that's the doingness of it, then that stuff gets bottled up within us. What we're not saying gets pushed down and then it comes out the wrong way and it's a problem. But if you're in your beingness and something you feel in your spirit or you feel that moment and you want to speak on it to your partner, to anyone, but I'm talking about, you know, dating, let them meet you with some solutions instead of just being like, I'm not going to say anything. I want to be quiet. I don't want him to think I'm argumentative. It's not about that. You know what I'm saying? Now you're hiding the truth of what you want, the truth of what bothered you, the truth of what hurt your feelings, and your partner don't got the proper information to try to love you because you're trying to hide by not being argumentative. I don't want to bring it up. Why? Did it hurt you, girl? If it hurts you, say something to that man. And if he cannot receive it in love, it might be time to reevaluate the situation. And when you do it that way, and you know you can be honored for your beingness, it doesn't need to come out like, you can use your words better because you're just being honest and you're used to being honest, and you know you can trust your intuition and you can work it out and talk about it. But if you're being, I say fake, because you're in the doingness and you don't want to argue because men online complain about that, or it's too much, or it's this or that, and you stifle it, that's when it comes out wrong. That's when you get passive aggressive. That's when you start to have other things come up. That's the problem in the relationship, not that you had a problem. That's okay. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Amita Joe, she said, okay, you preaching today. I'm feeling it. I'm telling you, I was going to talk about something else, but I was like, oh my God, let me hurry up and put some clothes on and talk to these people while this is on my mind, because I feel like it's such a crucial part in our dating life. So again, I help single Black women over 30 go from helpless to hopeful in love. And I think there's so many things that we can be doing to keep our minds right, our spirits aligned, so we can align with the right man. If you are performing for love, how are you going to connect with the man who's going to love you if you're not even being you? That's why a lot of this stuff ain't working out. So go get it. You know what I'm saying? This is a self journey. And I can't speak to being married. I've been engaged. I've never been married. But I believe that these self tools, this self love and acceptance is only going to benefit you in a marriage. You need to, right? That just seems like, it benefits you. It's just beneficial. A marriage, a job. I'm talking about all relationships. So I just wanted to leave that on your heart. I want y'all to think about some of these things when they come up. And if you're fighting with your impulse, trust yourself enough to know that you can be you. And I'm not trying to say if somebody don't like it, they can, but really, like, if I'm not for you, that's okay. I'm okay with that because I'm being me. I only want to be around people who love me. When I'm functioning in my beingness, which is love, it's the way God designed me. It's love for self. It is healthy. You're only going to attract and align with the people, opportunities, tribe that works for you. We're stifling our intuition when we do all that stuff, working in the ego, because, especially as Black women, oh, you're loud, argumentative, da-da-da. So does that mean if my voice gets high, I'm just like, if I'm a little bit loud today, that's a problem? Like, no, I'm happy, or we just need to be cool with functioning in the beingness versus the doing. And I believe it will draw everything that is aligned for us right to us, because we have the strength, the courage, and the know-how to be. Being is such a flow. Yeah. So I think that was it. That's it. That's all that came out. Look, this is the longest live. I was like, blah, 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 blah. Tawny said, also a good couple, solution oriented. Okay, wait. I know you'll fix that and tell me what you said. But yeah, that was it. That was really all that I had. Your vulnerability and your capability of being intimate and being seen comes from you giving yourself the permission to do that. Because instead of doing what you think people like, you're being yourself. That just makes me feel love. You know what I mean? When I think about being myself versus doing something, I just feel love. And that's our nature. So that's what you're going to attract. That's what you're going to have for yourself, for your partner, for whatever you want to do vocationally. Is that the right word? Career-wise, whatever. And this type of flow is where I don't need to teach you how to be feminine. If you're being yourself and cool with that, your femininity in your own flavor and aroma is going to be what it's going to be. Nobody needs to teach you that, Miss Demita Joe says, and we don't even really know what people are thinking, so we might as well be ourselves. But that's the thing, though. This is why I say doing versus being is ego versus love, because our ego, how do I say? If my ego is telling me that I am loved when I'm helpful, if and when I'm helpful and someone doesn't show me love for that, now I make up the story that either I need to be more helpful or they don't really like me. This is when you start to beat up on yourself. This is when you start to overperform and be fake. This is when you start to perform for acceptance because you think you're not getting something from somebody because they think you're not being what you think you need to be doing. It's all fake. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't like me, I put on the wig. I put on this. Oh, but he still doesn't like me. Maybe it's my hair. Maybe it's because I have my skin color. Maybe it's none of that. It don't have nothing, has nothing to do with that. But we be trying to, because it makes us comfortable. That's egoic. When we're trying to figure out every little thing, especially on behalf of other people, that's the ego trying to control and make us feel safe. That's fake. Don't got nothing to do with nothing. Tawny, here we go. A good couple is solution oriented. I would love for him to say, babe, let's work this out together. Dang, I would forget what I was mad about. It's that easy because it's real. It's love. There's peace in that. But the thing is, to attract a man that would sit you down and say, babe, let's work this out. I'm here for you. I know you got to be yourself for that. You can't be hiding behind the persona to receive a man that sees you enough to be like, babe, let's work on that. Because he knows your heart. You've been vulnerable. You've been intimate. And look, I'm not coming here as somebody who has it all together. I've come a long way. But I like to have these conversations with you guys because we're growing together. I'm not this is stuff, we're all growing in this, So there's layers and levels to it all. You might think you got it all together, then mess around and get in a relationship and be like, oh, that still bothers me. But at least with the healing and the recognition of that, you can respond and say, oh my God, I was feeling this way because, I'm used to this and I'm really sorry that this came out that way. But please know I'm working on realizing ... or whatever it is. It's solution oriented, it's love, it's intimate, it's vulnerable, it's healthy communication. And you have access to all those things when you're keeping it real. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I'm about to eat. I feel like I do this before I eat, but I'm hungry. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Hit me on Loving Life Deep. I help single Black women over 30 go from helpless to hopeful in love. None of our journey, especially in love and dating, has to do with anything outside of us. It's not because there's piss in the dating pool. It's not because Black men don't know how to ba. It's not because you need to be a bad chick, a city girl. Dudes want this, they don't want that. Like literally, you're not feminine enough. It has nothing to, and I'm not saying femininity is not important, but I'm just saying it has nothing to do with all that. You're going to attract what's for you and be able to deal and move with that the more authentic you are with being yourself. And so this is kind of where I'm coming from with everything. My ego is not my amigo. Facts. But you're cute, though. I be talking to my ego and my shadow like, oh, I see you tried to pop out today. I know where you came from. I know that, hi, little ego. I know that you were taught that when you're helpful, that's when you're loved. But you know what? I don't feel like doing anything today. And everyone still loves me. So you can keep that. I love you. Give me a hug. Okay. Bye-bye. Do what you got to do to stay in alignment. You feel me? This is your work. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This really blessed me to be with you and that you are here. We gonna do what we need to do. There's no need to be helpless. Just because, stay hopeful. If you desire, I'm trying to use that word more, desire versus want. We'll talk about that another day. If you desire love, don't let the outside inform you that it's not available for you to have in an authentic and healthy way. It's up to you to know that for yourself. You can't be looking at memes and reality shows and conversations because it'd be looking chaotic sometimes. And I know you could think, how am I going to find a good, but whatever it is that you want, you know what I'm saying? How am I going to get there if, and it has nothing to do with, it just has to do with you and your alignment. That's how everything's going to come. So we're going to focus on that. Thanks for tuning in. Follow Loving Life Deep on Instagram. You guys have been the best. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. If you have anything else, I read them. If you felt that this was important and you want to phone with your girlfriend one day and feel like she needs to hear this, go on and forward the video. Like, just give your girl some love. Like, okay, you guys are the best. Thanks for tuning in. And I will see you tomorrow, most likely. Okay? Loving Life Deep. Bye.